Michelle at 45 Obtuse Rocks Road today.
Uh-huh.
And she's going to be working on the report, so it won't be ready. And I told Michelle there was really no need for her to come to the meeting
Oh,
tonight.
okay. Well, let's talk about that when we get to that point.
Okay.
Okay. I want to be sensitive, I said, because it is a public hearing. You know, I'm just trying to be sensitive to make sure that everybody knows what we talk about when we talk about it. So anyways, I highly recommend those of you who are interested in DNA and Neanderthals. So, all right. Well, I don't see Mark yet. I don't see Bob Hudeman, but we do have 3 of us. So that's great.
Sharon, Mark said he was not able to make it tonight. He just emailed us recently.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that.
Sure.
All right. Just telling everybody I'm trying to ease my toggling. So I'm from time to time, you guys will see me reach over to read my iPad.
I wonder if in a month or two we can have actual live meetings.
Yeah, at some point.
Everybody's inoculated. I don't know.
Yeah, at some point, I guess it and only time will tell, if the inoculated don't spread it. And
I hadn't heard my dog. I go crazy. She walks me every day 6 times. That's my big head of my day. Yeah.
Although
I have a holding on it and it says quarantine mate.
I'm anxious too, but it might be difficult to require you have an inoculation to come to the meeting when not everybody has the inoculation available to them.
Yeah.
Right, that's right. Right, or is in a position to have it. That's a reality as well. Not everybody can, because of other circumstances.
Yeah,
so.
my point exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm the oldest in the group, so I got it first. I'll be 80 this summer, so.
Wow. Well, that's great. It's funny. I said at work, it's the first 5 minutes of almost every conversation. How are you doing with the vaccinations?
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. It's Dave Frankel.
Hi, Dave.
Hi there. Everybody doing okay?
Yep, we are. Thank you for asking.
Good. Maybe one of these days we'll be able to get to meet in person.
We were just chit-chatting about that. So, all right. Well, there are 4 of us. It is 7 o'clock. Let me just ask Allison and Alice, are you guys all set on the technology side?
Yes, we're all set.
Okay, great. Well, then I'd like to call to order a regular meeting of the Brookfield Inland Wetlands Commission. Today is Monday, the 8th of March, 2021. My name is Sharon Fox. I act as the chair of the commission. Also with us this evening is Mr. Michael Neustadt, who is the commission secretary, Dr. John Donovan, who is a regular member, and Mr. Dave Frankel, who is an alternate. So there are 4 of us. So all 4 of us will be voting members this evening. Also with us is Allison Kennedy, who is our recording secretary, and Alice Dew, who is Wetlands Enforcement officer. So with that, we'll move on to the agenda. So let's start with Wetlands Enforcement.
All right. Actually, there's been no change on the 3 current enforcement issues: 148 North Lake Shore, 58 Old Grays Bridge Road, nor 83 Candlewood.
Okay. Anybody see anything in town that they want to bring to Alice's attention?
No.
Nope.
Okie doke. Thank you for that. All right. We do not have any active site inspection reports. We'll move to the public hearing when we get through old business and new business. So the first thing on old business is the proposed maintenance plan for the grounds of Huckleberry School. I didn't get to the wetlands on Friday because of some other responsibilities, but I am going to try and do it again on Friday. So I make a motion to continue 5A to our next meeting.
I'll
So
second
moved.
that.
All right, so let's see. I made the motion. I heard Dave second. Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimous. All right, that's going to get us to 16 Cador. I hope I said that right. Cador Burn Road. This was the in-ground pool. Is there someone here from that?
We're here. Yep. We're
Oh,
here.
hey, how you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. Let's see. I think we had talked about just a couple little minor
Yes. Yeah.
things
So
on that. You want to bring us up, just your name and address, and bring us up to speed on what's happened?
yeah. So when we met, you had a couple of questions or adds to the map, and we sent the new map over.
Is that the one dated the 18th now, or the week? Does that sound about right? Or
I don't remember when I sent it to Alice.
okay,
When did I send it?
Yeah, the 18th was the
Is the
dated
18th?
date on it.
So what we added to it is you wanted to see where the silk fence added to it.
yep,
And you wanted some clarity on the fencing and the paver, so I made that clear for you to see that.
yep. I
And-
see that. So that is about. Let's see. You got the dimensions on that? I see the pool is 17 by 32.
Right.
Mhm.
So if you look there, the pavers from the pool are going to be 5 feet on 3 sides, and then the rest of it on the side that goes towards Dunsany, and then right next to it, fence 6 inches or so. We're not sure because we haven't picked the fence out yet, but that
Yep.
will go right next to the pavers, right around the distance of those, of the pool.
Okay.
And then the other thing is you wanted us to look at the trees that were close to the wetlands, and we only saw really 4.
Okay.
Three of them are red. That means they're alive. And then was the green one off to the distance that was dead, and we want to take that out for safety reasons.
Okay.
So those were the ones that were closest to the wetlands, and then
And they weren't waist thick. You had asked
yeah,
if they were thick trees, they're thin trees.
yeah.
Okay.
And then the other thing that you asked for us was to revise the construction sequence. And Mark asked us for number 1 to put in there, remove the current above ground pool. So that's been added. The other thing that was added was the installation of the silk fence to protect the wetlands. And the other thing was to make sure any remaining dirt would not disturb the wetlands, that it would be moved over to the front side towards the Dunsany side of the road. So that was all added to the construction sequence. And those were the things that we had that you asked us to add. And we forward over the 2 documents, the new construction sequence and the changes on the map for you.
Okay. And your plan is to take out that one tree that you've got that's dead, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And the other
and they're all thin, they're not very big, thick trees.
They're not waist
Yeah.
thick trees, as he had mentioned.
Okay, so you do want to take out those 3 little ones that are marked in red. Where the heck did that
Correct.
Correct. Yeah.
go? Okay. Where did that plan go?
One minor comment, would it make sense to install the silt fencing first before you take out the above ground pool and the tree and the site clearing?
It's not, the pool's not where, the above ground pool's not where the new pool is.
Yeah.
So it has no effect on anything.
So
It's just sitting there on the property.
right.
Is it outside of the
It's not.
regulated area?
I'm sorry?
Is it outside of the regulated area?
Yes.
Yes.
So if you look at the site map, and you can see it's close to our driveway. It's nowhere near any wetlands, and it's pretty far from where the digging's going to be. And just so you're aware, there is a substantial piece of ledge that separates the pool area to where it is. So
It's a natural barrier.
Yeah, it's a natural barrier. So it's nowhere near where any of the work's going to be done.
Okay. And so between the pool and your fence and those 3 trees, that's all grass today, is that right?
It's like the new pool or the old pool?
The new pool.
The new pool, it's just dead weeds. It's
Yeah,
kind of like something out of the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah,
All right, so
it's
you don't mow in there then? You don't?
Oh,
you don't-
no.
Okay.
no. It's just overgrown weeds and trees and stuff. That's it.
And that's not going to change after you get the new pool in? You're not going to
We're not touching that area with, because the pool's really not going to be there. We're doing the area back by the pool, which is away from it.
Okay.
So that area, just like that area where the where the wetlands are, all that remains the same. It's not going to be disturbed or touched.
Okay.
There's that 75 feet distance there. We're going to clear out some of the trees because we don't want shading there, but we're planning to leave it so there's
We'll be
no growth.
69.5 feet away. The fence.
I'm not sure where that came from, but it happens. Huh. Okay, so you're trying to take out those small trees because you're worried about shade over the decades?
Yeah, so there's a lot of wooded area on my neighbor. So when you look on my neighbor's side, that's all wooded area there.
On his property.
On his property, where the property lines are.
Yeah.
So I'm already concerned about that because I'm not sure what that's going to mean. But also the trees that we're taking out will just cause way too much shade of the pool. There's a lot of shrubbery and trees from the wetlands back, and if you're looking at it to the property line of my neighbor, there's a lot of trees there. And actually, several of them are dead and broken, and kind of fell into our property. We got to deal with that as well.
Mm.
There's a lot of the trees back there are dead.
Yeah,
On the neighbor's property, they're dead.
I'm sorry?
On the neighbor's property, they're dead. Is that what you mean?
On both. On both.
I met someone who worked on the building. They said when they built our homes, they just cut down enough and plopped a tree and propped a house down. So they just kind of left stuff there.
Yeah, the little that I read, trees are stressed. There's drought. There's been no storms. There's been heat. So
Macroburst, microburst.
I mean, we were very fortunate. We have 2 trees that went down that were close to the house, and they fell, actually exactly where the pool is. They were actually good-sized trees. If they fell on the house, we would have substantial damage.
And again, I'm kind of worried about. I'm trying to think. Is there any way that we could, like I said, those 3 trees, which you said are alive? Is there anything we could do to save them and keep them there? Again, these trees are under stress. They're 10, 15 feet from the wetlands line. Is there any way to save those? You said there's.
I mean, we could plant something in its place.
Yeah.
I would rather, we wouldn't be objective to taking those down and maybe putting some sort of fruit tree or something back in its place. Yeah. That's not as large that we can manage over the years and, keep trimmed. They were just back there kind of like from the Wizard of Oz, ignored.
Okay.
So we wouldn't mind, we wouldn't mind putting something in that we would actually be able to care for.
Okay, well, maybe that's, like I said, maybe that's a compromise. Maybe you guys could look at, like I said, some kind of native fruit tree or some kind of native species. You're taking out 4, maybe put 2 in.
Yeah,
we absolutely
would love to put a fruit tree back there. I'm not sure what we'd put that, but that would be great.
Yeah, fruit trees. There's a lot of, like I said,
and so that's actually a good compromise because it would actually make the back look better
pretty.
Too. Because we don't want it to look crappy. You know what I'm saying? After investing the money in this pool.
Yeah, I hear you.
Is there any chance that any of the dead trees could fall on the pool?
Yes.
Yes, and the house.
Yes.
Well, given that, we're talking about the pool at this point, we're not really talking about the house. Would it make sense to get rid of any dead trees that might cause a problem with the pool?
There's going to be some other, outside these 3 trees that are there are going to be some other, there's where the pool is, there's trees there that are
split in half
that
already.
are split in half, and they're going to come out as well.
That are not in the wetlands, though.
That are not in the wetlands area.
That are not in the upland review area.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you set? Is that all right, Dave? Did you get your answer?
Yep. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
All right. I'm satisfied. Let me ask my colleagues here.
Sounds good to
Yep,
me.
I'm good with it.
So
Okay.
can I ask one question? So
Yeah.
you're, as part of this, we are going to put in a couple of fruit trees back there. Is that your
Yes.
requirement?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
we're about, I think we're about to make a motion,
Okay.
and we would, and I'm happy to make it here. And I'm going to, we'll approve it. It's the map that's dated the February 18th, including the construction sequence that you provided on the 1st of March. Making note that the approval includes the planting of 2 native species trees in that, in the area between the pool, in the upland review area. It'd be something like
Okay.
that.
That works.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
To be, and I said, we have to publish it, and then it's effective right after that. So I'll make the motion if you guys are all right with it. I'll make a motion to.
Yes. Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve the application at 16 Cador. I said that right?
Otterburn.
Waterburn?
16 Cotterburn Road. It's activity number W-21-9 for the installation of an in-ground pool, as noted on a plan, a GIS handwritten map with a last update of 2/18/2021, making note that the plan describes a silk fence, but that's really the silt fence.
So I'm sorry. You know what? I wasn't sure how to spell it, but I
No
went with.
problem.
Okay, sorry about
My
that.
husband's gonna put
Don't worry,
silk
we
out there.
got it.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
It didn't sound right, but I'm like, well, I think they know what I meant. I didn't know. I know I got it wrong.
Yeah, making note that the silk fence is actually a GSX silt fence, to incorporate the construction sequence dated March 1st. I'm not sure I said that before. And also noting that the plan will be updated for the installation of 2 native to Connecticut trees in the upland review area between the pool and the wetlands to be effective the first day after publication. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, how'd I do? Did I get everything?
I think you did.
All right.
Yep.
Any discussion on the motion?
You didn't want to specify fruit trees, just native trees, right?
A native species.
Yeah.
any-
Okay. I don't want to make it tough for them either. So.
No, they can, if they want to change, any native species.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, if there is any more discussion, all those in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries 4-0. All right, you guys.
Thank
Good
you
luck.
very
Thank you
much.
very much.
Yep.
You're
Good luck.
Enjoy.
All right. Have a good night.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Take care.
Bye.
All righty, next we have 126 North Lakeshore, another pool renovation. Is there someone here for 126?
That's me.
Who's you?
I'm sorry, Sean Monastero.
Okay, thank you. Alrighty. I'm trying to remember, where did we, did you have something new for us or anything new?
Yeah,
you
I
wanna
submitted.
take a look
I
at?
sent it and uploaded the. They just wanted me to add in the construction sequence and add something to the site map. Just kind of stating what we were going to do with the end of the pool on the lakeside. That we were kind of extending the pool, what was kind of going to be going on back there.
Yeah.
And it's literally going to be exposed, the pool wall. Like, we're not adding any dirt or changing any elevation or anything. We're just going to, we build our forms and shoot our concrete against that. And then it's going to be basically exposed, and we're just going to face it probably with like a stone, to dress it up and everything. But the elevation is still going to be the same. We're not moving any dirt around. It's just going to continue out at the grade that it is in the patio area, like closer to, I don't have the map in front of me, but I think it's the, away from the lake there.
Okay.
And just continue the grade 60 feet out, and then, just kind of go down to to the ground where it, where it would end. That's the shallow end area too, so it shouldn't be, it's only going to be 3.5 feet deep there. So there should, there's going to be minimal stuff sticking out. I mean, the grade of the yard does go down a little bit back there, but we're going to leave it as is, and anything that is exposed, we're just going to put like a rock face on it, basically.
Okay. So I'm looking at the construction sequence. I see that you've got it to skid steer to remove the material, no trees. We're going to
be moving everything on basically as we go along. We're not going to pile anything there at all.
Okay.
The homeowner's mom actually lives next door, so we're going to access everything through her driveway. And there's actually like a shared patio almost on between her property and his that we could get our skid steer in and out of. And we're basically be doing everything like jackhammers and by hand, and just kind of piling everything into these buckets and shipping them right out as we go.
Okay. That's all I can remember. This one, I don't think we asked for anything else. John, Michael, Dave?
I do have a question.
You have permission from the neighbor to access their driveway for this, right?
Yeah, it's his mother.
Okay. Michael?
Yes, I do have a question. Is there something sacred about the 90 feet to the pool from the center of the road? And if not, is there any reason you, rather than putting the just looking at the map, I'm going to call it the right edge. I guess it's the east edge of the pool where the east edge of the old pool is, just to move it so the west edge, the lakeside edge of the new pool is where the lakeside edge of the old pool was, just to keep it another few feet further from the lake?
Well, so if you could see the property where the original pool is now is surrounded by like 10-foot tall stone walls, and then another 20 feet of evergreen like bushes
on the roadside, on the east side.
Yeah, so from what I don't have the setbacks in front of me as far as like what we need to be at from the center of the road, but I basically configured the pool so that it fell in all, like, it met all the setback requirements. And he wanted to, like, if you could see the pool, like where the where the pool starts on the east side.
Mm-hmm.
If we go any more to the east, you won't be able to get around the pool.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I wasn't thinking, it would be nice if it could be done, but it's certainly not necessary. Thank you.
I got it as close as I could to the right-hand side to get it as far away from the lake as possible.
Did we lose you?
Oh, no, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yep.
Now we can. Thanks.
Oh, sorry.
Lost you for a second.
But yes, I said we positioned it as far to the right as possible to get it as far away from the lake as we could.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Well, I said I'm good with it.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Someone want to make a motion, or you want me to try, or?
I could do that.
All right. Thank you.
For approval, I'd like to make a motion to approve 126 North Lake Shore Drive, application number W-21-10, based on a drawing by
Just a GIS map.
a GIS map. I'm just switching back to a GIS map dated 2/18/21, and to include all the usual stipulations to be effective the day after publication.
All right, do I have a second on that?
Second.
All right, any other discussion on the motion? All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimous. All right, good luck with the project.
Thank you so very much, guys. I really
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Sean.
Yep, take care.
You're welcome. Good
You
luck.
too. Thank you.
All right, next we have is 7 Lake View Road, and this was a deck. Is there someone here for that project?
Yes, hi, Kristen Renzulli.
Okay, great, thank you. Let's just see. I think we've got a slight revision. Is that right? A slight revision to the construction sequence?
Yes, and to the GIS map. I'm looking at the agenda and I don't see the ones that I sent on February 24th, but maybe you can see them.
Okay, let's see if we can take a look. Let's see, the construction sequence is dated. No, I don't actually see.
I have the construction sequence from the 24th, but not the map.
All right, well,
I can send them to you. I sent them to Alice on the 24th. I can email them to you now if you want.
Or she can share her screen.
oh, yeah, or you can share your screen and we'll accommodate
I
this.
have no idea how to do that.
Okay.
I actually called in because I'm technologically
Well, I'm
challenged.
trying to remember, wasn't the conversation about the dimensions and the type of deck?
Yeah, that's all
It
there.
was
Having
type.
read this, I see that the drawing is now pretty complete, and the sequence.
It's got a date printed of 2/18 on it, doesn't it?
Yeah, and the sequence includes the details of the deck with the material. That was what our question was.
Yep, and how many
What did
footings,
it
right?
look like? What was it made of?
Yep, and how many footings and the dirt and what
Yeah.
was going to happen to that?
Mhm.
Okay, so you must have the updated one then, because
I think we
did
do,
remember-
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
the information is in the construction sequence, the number of footings, the material. So I'm comfortable with this.
Yep, and no trees going to be removed, stockpiles,
Right.
there's nothing, right? All right, I don't see anything else on this one. Michael, John, Dave?
Nope,
Okay.
looks okay.
All right, someone want to make a motion to approve this?
I guess I can do it again. I would
All right.
like to make a motion to approve 7 Lakeview Road, application number W-21-11 for a new deck on this property. Based on a drawing, let me go back to the drawing. GIS drawing dated, don't see it on here. Oh, there it is, 2/18/21, with all the usual stipulations to be effective the day after publication.
Have a second?
Second.
All right, I think John just beat you, Dave, so John
Yeah, that's
seconded the
okay.
motion. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimous, 4-0. All right, thanks. Good luck with the project.
Enjoy your
Yep,
home.
good luck.
You're
Have a good
welcome.
day.
Yep. All right, we're going to move on to new business. We've got 100 Candlewood Lake Road. Looks like we've got the stipulations. I personally would like a little time to take a look at those. Let me toss it over to my colleagues. Anybody want to talk about it? I said I just want to take a little bit more time and read it. And
Yeah,
so
okay.
I would like to.
didn't, is there some narrative of what the changes are? I mean, I agree, it's a lot of information here.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and
Would
I-
you like one of the representatives to just do an overview for you?
Oh, is there someone here for this? I'm sorry. Thank you, Alice. I should have asked. Is there someone here for this project?
Yeah, hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can. There. We haven't seen you guys in a while.
Hi, good evening, Madam Chair. Good evening, committee members and staff. So my name is Gus Cotate. I'm the project manager for ONG Industries. So we're applying for the building permit for the new Huckleberry Hill Elementary School. And I believe that this is part of the building permit review process that you have in front of you. Well,
if I can just jump in, we are not a part of the building permit process. We're here for wetlands.
Correct.
We're, we are an element. I mean, the building department would want to know that you would, I believe, have an approved application, which you do. I think this is just the stipulation. So I just wanted to see if that helps your conversation or not.
It does. It definitely does. So, but the set that we're talking about tonight is our permit set, which is basically complying with all the conditions of your October review permit that you've issued, with the condition of approvals, items 1 through 7 of the October 23, 2020 inland wetland permit. So those are the main changes from what you've previously reviewed. And the highlight of those would be item 7, which was the applicant agrees to the creation of at least 4,000 square feet of new wetland on this same or adjoining property, with plans for the new wetlands to be submitted to the Inland Wetland Commission for approval.
Okay. So the plan so Michael, I didn't want to jump because I know that was going to be your question. Do you want to, let me give it to you. You got some questions for the guy?
I mean, this is a huge document. I'm looking, that's downloading very slowly on my.
Yeah, that was the problem I had too.
Can you point to a page or where on the project that the new wetlands are being created? Is it on the property or off property in the southern piece?
I can show you.
On the property.
If you go to plan C1.50.
C1.01, 1.50, I take it that's quite a ways down. Give me a few moments. My computer is.
Michael, do you want someone to share their screen?
That would be helpful if it could be.
I don't know if you can see on the. Let me see if I can.
It's essentially the upper left portion of the property, the northwest section.
Of the school property or the property to the south?
If you look,
property, at this point, we are not doing any development on the parcel to the south. Everything is on the school property site.
So if you look at my screen, it's right. This is where the wetland creation areas are, and there are 2 areas right up here.
Does the document contain a sort of assessment on that wetland's viability? I mean, it's one thing to say you're going to create it, but sometimes they fail. So do you guys have something that says, you've had someone with experience take a look at it and say, this has high odds of succeeding?
We can take a look at that. I don't know that there is such a document, but this is basically at the toe of the hill. So it's essentially where water is going to be running to.
Yeah, if you could, like I said, I know you guys have a lot of talent there. If you could ask someone to, like I said, take a look at, like I said, its viability, and that's viability. It's got high odds, and just because you can't guarantee anything.
Sharon, I just want to add that if any of the commissioners would like to come in and look at the plans, we do have a set in the office, so just need to make an appointment.
Okay, thanks, Alice.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, we have
that
the
is
plans here. It's going to take a while to download them.
Yeah, they're big.
Yeah, I will say that really is the major change, in terms of addressing the condition of approval. Really, the entire package is provided for reference, but there's a lot more sheets than you saw previously because this is the set of documents that the contractor will be building from. So there's a lot more construction details. But other than providing additional information on what's being provided, I would not say that the design has really changed.
Well, you indicated that C 1.50 would be the page to look at, and I've now got that on my screen. And you're saying it's kind of in the upper left corner. I would have to.
Upper left corner, there are two areas of wetland creation. One is approximately 965 square feet, and the other one is 2,260 square feet approximately.
Okay.
So while Michael looks at that, again, that's sort of a question related to, like I said, an assessment of this, viability. Is there a page in here that just talks about what the, what the maintenance is on that wetlands, if any? Or this created wetlands, anything on the maintenance of it?
It would be the same as what we're doing for the other wetlands.
Okay, well, I said, when you have your, I said, I know you got a lot of talent. You said you got a wetland soil scientist. You might just ask them. I said to, take a look at if there's any required maintenance on these to keep them going.
On page C, on the top middle.
Yep.
The wetland creation mitigation construction notes.
Yep.
And it talks about the creation of the wetland area. And it gives us.
What was that page? I'm sorry.
Page C 1.30.
Okay.
On top of the page, kind of in the middle of that page, it talks about wetland creation, mitigation, construction notes.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to have. I'm sure.
Which are the same notes that you've reviewed previously.
Yeah.
Okay. I see it there. It's unreadable in this particular format for, at least on my little computer. I enlarge it, it just goes blurry. Is there any possibility that, again, well, it's up to you, Sharon. Do you think they need to just send these to us separately, or?
Well, we have a hard copy in the office.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
we have a hard copy. So I said we can take a look at it. I was having the same problem too. It was a monster document.
Yeah.
Whoa, it's just a monster.
You okay?
Yeah, thank you. No, I just hit the wire with my foot there. So
Oh, dear. I can see where it is. It's just that it's unreadable. It's too blurry to read at this resolution that it downloads that.
Are there just a couple of pages that you might want, Michael, that they could send?
Well,
you?
yeah, the two we were looking at, this 1.3 and 1.5.
Yeah, I can easily extract those 2 pages and send them to you, Alice, if you want, and then you can share them with members.
That would be appreciated.
No problem.
And then I'll send them to everybody.
okay, thank you for that. All right, so that's so we have one ask from Michael to help us, read these 2 pages that we're having challenges with. Again, and my ask, I think I've got the support of my colleagues, but I'll leave that open. He said, I'd like to have an assessment that these wetlands are viable. And then that's what I'll be looking for as a part of the acceptance here. So.
Sharon, while we have everyone from this,
Sure.
not everyone, but many people from the school project, we also have on the agenda, David Keene sent a letter, and we were going to hear back from Malone and McBroom, and we have not yet. So I was wondering if that was possible to either get them to speak or to send a response.
Yeah, are you guys
Alice, I
familiar with that letter? Did you get it?
We did. Alice, I can speak to that if you like.
Okay, Mr. Keen is here too, so he can
Okay.
ask any other questions you might have.
So we just drafted that letter up today. I can send that off to you. I wanted, the building committee to take a look at it first, but essentially Malone and McBroom has run the calculations to confirm that, the 100-year, I think the concern one was about the 100-year storm rate, that the peak runoff has not been exceeded, and they do have data to support that. Number two, in terms of any further issues down south, downstream from the site, there shouldn't be anything essentially coming from the site. If there are issues in that area, it's potentially other causes. And certainly, it's well beyond the school property, so it's not to a point where we could do anything with it as part of this project. And then the third concern was regarding Erickson Farm parcel, and there are no plans to develop Erickson Farm. So I can provide a copy of that letter to you tomorrow, I believe.
Okay. Thank you. And David, did you have any additional comments, questions?
No, nope.
I'm sorry, I meant David Keen, the person.
Oh, I thought you were being nice to me.
No, I don't. I look forward to seeing the letter and see what the civil engineers have shown.
Okay.
It sounds like they've modified the table with the cubic feet output. If you're saying it's less, it's less. So it's less across the board?
Yeah,
Also,
I mean, I'm not a civil engineer, so unfortunately,
Neither
I
am
can't
I.
really give you. But yeah, essentially, it has been reviewed. We've picked up comments, from the third-party reviewers, and since we've met, the Department of Deep has reviewed and approved the plans.
Okay, great. And you did mention, I think there was 3 points, right? The second one was about the during construction. So that.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Great, Alice.
And
Thanks
then,
for bringing it forward.
Welcome.
If I may, Sharon, to your question, I did. Malone and McBroom's not able to join us, but I did text them. He said that a soil scientist will observe during construction to verify the soil conditions. The likelihood of the success should be high since wetlands already exist in the area. The creation area is an extension of existing wetlands.
Okay, just write that up and put someone's signature on that and send that over to us, please.
Okay.
Yep. All right. Well, again, Alice, many thanks for catching that that these guys were here. I didn't see that, so thank you for that. Thank you, Michael, for your question, and thanks, Alice, again for noticing that Mr. Keen was on. We were able to sort of advance that topic. So many thanks for that. It takes a number of people to run a Zoom meeting. So. All right. Anything else for 100 Candlewood Lake Road? I said I will wait. We want to take a look at the map. We want to get familiar with that. You guys are going to be kind enough to send us a little extract. And again, a note about the wetlands viability with a letter and a signature, please.
Will it be acceptable for us to start mobilizing on site at this, or should we wait to hear back from the committee? Setting up some erosion control fencing, temporary fencing, some soft activities at this point. Would that be something that we should wait on, or can we proceed? We were planning to start bringing in some equipment on Friday and maybe starting some erosion fencing on Monday.
I think the general answer to that question is it doesn't sound like there's any particular reason to be held up if everything is going to match the approvals. I can't think of any reason to hold you up pending this. That's kind of your decision. I said, you do have an approved plan. This is just, like I said, making sure that the stipulation is complete and thorough.
Okay. Another plan that,
I mean, that's kind of my off the top of my head, consideration. Let me ask Alice or my colleagues, your thoughts, please?
It would be fine with me.
Yeah.
I have to get a third-party reviewer, but that shouldn't be, and that'll be a little while later. I'm sorry, an inspector, not a reviewer.
An inspector, right. Right. And that doesn't sound like, so I can't think of any reason, like I said, to do that. I mean, you guys are warranting, here in your conversations that we should be, that everything is in order. And again, that we've got, an individual who has experience with these created wetlands is going to provide that insight. So, we'll wait to see. I mean, I personally going to reserve my judgment till we get a chance to actually stare at this, but I wouldn't hold, I personally wouldn't hold it up. I mean, if there's a problem with it, then we'll have to deal with it,
all right, understood. And I will also include with the two drawings that I will send Alice. I'm going to also send her drawing C 1.01 that shows in shaded areas there will be the trees that are going to be removed. So I'll send out 3 plans for to have.
Yeah, I mean, I said, you guys are in charge of the timeline. You guys are in charge of what you want to do with construction, and you guys were in control of when we got these. So,
Thank you.
All right. Someone want to make a motion to continue 100 Candlewood Lake Road to our next meeting, please? Or I'll make that motion. I'll make a
Sorry.
motion.
Go ahead.
I'll second.
All right. I said I made the motion to continue 100 Candlewood Lake Road to the next meeting. Dave seconded it. Oh, he's in trouble with
Yeah.
that.
Good stuff.
All right. So again, just thank you to Michael and Alice for helping me note who was here. Any discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimous. All right, thanks, guys. All right, we're going to move on. We got 19 and 23 Station Road. It's activity number W-21-12. It's 2 multifamily buildings. Let's go take a look at it. There's someone here for this application?
Yes, my name is,
Name and address, please.
sure. My name is Alan Rothman. This property is at 1923 Station Road. I work for 48 Wheeler Avenue LLC, which is the owner. With me here today is also Matt Moran from the same company. And we also have Earl Govan, who's the landscape architect. And we have Chris Allen, who is a professional wetland scientist from Landtech.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll just take a look at your application to maybe kick us off here. So we've got previous applications with wetlands. That was, yes, a couple of years ago. You got total acreage is about 5. You have no disturbed wetland area.
Correct.
And no disturbed linear feet of water courses.
No, there is right, correct. There is no disturbance, correct.
Okay. And then you've got 46,000 square feet of disturbed upland review area. All right. Well, let's go. What is it? Why don't you guys give us a little overview, or as much as you'd like, about
Sure.
about the plan, what you guys are trying to accomplish here.
Okay, so as you've said, we've come here. This is our 3rd time. First time our plan disturbed thousands of square feet of wetlands. The second one, we reduced that, and this plan has no disturbance of wetlands. We are in some buffer area. However, the buffer area has been disturbed prior. There used to be a road from 1950s to the mid 80s. There was a road where most of this project's going to be. There was landfill brought in to make that road. And so most of this project would be on prior disturbed areas. They're also in that same area, or some of the areas that we'd be disturbing in the buffer was an environmental cleanup that we did, all done through inland wetlands. And so we're basically doing most of the work in a prior disturbed area. So we're going to present a plan. Earl will go next, and he'll present a plan. But the idea is to get some feedback of direction and to set it in motion for the steps to get our plan approved. So I'm going to turn it over to Earl right now.
All right.
Hello. How are you all? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Good.
Yes. Okay. My name's Earl Govan. I'm a landscape architect with Blades and Govan in Fairfield, Connecticut. Licensed landscape architect. If you want, I can share my screen and we can kind of go through a quick overview of where we are now and how we got here, if that's all right.
Yep.
Do I just click share my screen?
I think
Okay.
you gotta get permission. I think Allison's gotta
You
give
should
you
be all set
permission.
right now. I just made you a co-host.
Okay,
You sharing that?
we see it.
Yep.
Okay. So this was the original plan back in May of 2018. There were 3 residential buildings. One, I think, had some retail in it. It was an aggressive plan that did have direct inland wetland disturbance, as well as multiple areas of very, very close disturbance to the wetlands, including the buffer to the south of the property to the left of the sheet. That's back in May. As a result of that plan, your commission had consultants review the plan and give their opinions and wrote up their concerns. I think about 6 months ago, the design team put together a plan for a zoning text amendment, which is the one in front of you now. So this had 2 buildings, still had the parking down in the buffer down to the south, but tried to reduce the impact of that. We went into zoning, they came out and they asked us, oh, it might be nice to have a pool. So we put a pool back in. Once we prepared this plan, we actually, the consultants received the input from the previous application. So we didn't have it in our hands. Once we read that, we realized that there were some issues with those original plans that really impacted design. So we came up with another design, the design in front of you now, which tried to pull the property, tried to pull the development away from the wetlands. The client bought 15 Station Road, which is the property between our new building 1 here and building phase 1, building 2, the existing building there now on Station Road. They bought that property and it allowed us to rearrange the parking and the development so that we can consolidate it in that disturbed area around 15 Station Road and behind it. So in this plan, we have no disturbance to the buffer to the south. We've pulled the development as far as we think we can safely and still meet the guidelines, trying to minimize the disturbance within 10 feet. And the only place we do have a little bit of disturbance is up by the tip of the wetland to the right. But our goal here was to really consolidate the project to where we have some mostly previously disturbed land and to minimize the disturbance to the buffer. So between sheet A2, the time we prepared that, we walked the site with our environmental consultant, Chris Allen, and he's going to say a couple of words here too when I'm done. And he determined that intermittent stream or what was considered an intermittent stream coming off of Station Road really wasn't, that it's a ditch, it's kind of a drainage way. But he didn't recommend any disturbance to the inland wetlands. He did recommend not disturbing to the area to the south. So, you know, we read the reports. We understand there are issues still outstanding that we need to address in terms of some database plant material that may be located in the wetlands that we need to investigate a little bit this spring and summer. But So, you know, the plan was developed kind of in the last couple of months, once we understood the ramifications of the reports that were previously done by your consultants. Did I go too fast? Please
Nope.
feel free to ask any questions along the way. I'm going to stop for a minute.
Yeah, I just have one question. I'm looking at the PDF, you know, w-21-plans.pdf.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at that one, and can you just help me navigate? Is the first page, what is that?
That's the survey of, I'm going to flip back. That's this page.
Yeah, what is that one? Is that
that's surrounded by the purple is the actual property that's being added to the Brookfield Village, existing, previously proposed Brookfield Village, right? So the purple area is property. What is that, Alan? That is 19 Station Road.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
well,
that's
19 and 23 Station Road.
okay, so that's just a nice lot map for us showing the wetlands. That's what that is. That's a
Yeah,
very
showing
nice
the wetlands
map.
on the property that we're now incorporating into the project.
It does one more thing, which is you can see that the area, I don't know how to explain it. Yes, that area was filled in. That's where the road was. And that's where our project's built. We built it on the highest area, which was the prior fill.
Okay.
So, and what I'm going to pull up one other plan, and I'm just going to superimpose. Well, here is, I'm going to pull this up, but here is that map, that aerial.
Right. Okay.
And the area we're talking about here is that old road that was here.
Okay.
That kind of came through. So when we saw that, we said, well, okay, well, it makes sense to, you know, if we're going to consolidate our development, let's put it where it was previously disturbed. And let's try to keep it as tight as possible and far away from the wetland as possible. And when I superimpose that road on our project, that's kind of where it goes. And you can see it here. It's that dashed line that cuts through the building. And that's kind of that old road bed. So as you can see, we've tried to do our best to try to keep that up on Station Road and still meet the program, which is, it's a mixed use property. It needs parking. And yet we've cut down the project a little bit. That was part of one of the goals of the zone amendment, was to allow less retail on Station Road so that we could have a smaller project and not as a big of impact on the site.
And the only difference between the second sheet and
I'll go
the third sheet is,
well, there's a few differences.
okay.
There was next to building where my cursor is here, there was a little disturbance to the inland wetlands. We had a pool and we had a crossing.
Wait. So just 1 second. So you just talked about disturbed wetlands there, but the application has 0. That's one of the things that caught my eye.
Yes, because this was the old application. We're saying the difference between this one.
All right. Okay, good. Well, now you're helping clear my understanding here.
Yes. So this was the plan that was prepared for zoning. It did have a wetland crossing where we had a little bridge to the pool, and we had a little disturbance to the north end of the wetland. And when you go to our new plan.
Yeah, let me save you some time. Let's go to the plan you want us to, and the sheet you want us to look at.
That would be SPA3.
Okay.
And that's ultimately the plan that we're asking for you to consider. So that, and again, the reason for the pre-application was to get your concerns so we could address them and make sure we have a project that's on the right track.
Do I understand you're eliminating the pool?
Yes.
I don't see a pool and the bridge is out.
No pool, no bridge.
Because that was disturbing wetlands, and we're trying to go, this plan has no disturbance of wetlands.
Okay, well, you're helping me out, because I said I'm seeing all these different plans here on page 1 and 2 and 3, and I'm going, hey, they're all different. So
the reason we do that, we just wanted to get here so that from this point on, we can present this plan. We think we've kind of exhausted all the alternates. We've gone through the opportunities we're at a point here where we feel that we've got a very consolidated plan. One other thing I'd like to mention is the white shading that cuts through the gray shading, that's existing approved parking areas and disturbances. So the darker areas is really what's being approved. The lighter areas are parking lots that are previously approved through this process.
Okay, so you're really wanting us, it's page 4, it's this SPA3.
Correct.
Okay. And what do we have about stormwater management here?
So I believe, and the owner can speak, but they've engaged CCA to prepare something. They haven't done it yet. They're ready to go as soon as we kind of get some direction that this is something that you will entertain. They feel they can make it work. They know the system that's existing there that was put in for phase 1 and 2. And they feel that they can come up with a system that won't disturb the wetlands, but will meet the guidelines required.
Yeah, I think I would be kind of interested in, but their stormwater management, I said that they're not taking, water, from the parking lot, and then diverting it in towards the wetlands. So I know they've got a couple of different techniques that they'll take a look at, but that's something that'll be on my mind.
Yeah, and they understand that the system that's there now is, has a limitation. So they understand that. So it's not as if they're coming in to this blind. They understand the limitations of the property, the soils, and the and the existing system, which is designed by them.
Okay. Tell me about.
Chris is here. If you would like to hear from our environmental consultant, Chris can, give you a run of what he's, unearthed so far and what his plans are as we move forward.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, great. Let's go there. Yep.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chris Allen. I'm a professional wetland scientist and a professional soil scientist with Land Tech Consultants out of Westport. So as Earl described, the developers asked us to take a look at this and to take a look at the previous review that was done by the Northwest Conservation District to see if we could help them out. And as Earl described, this plan was kind of the result of what we had found on the site and some of the recommendations we made. So also as Earl said, the drainage ditch that comes off of Station Road does not meet the regulatory definition of an intermittent water course. There's a short section near the road that is a maintained ditch. It appears that it's probably maintained by the town public works. But then once you get past the maintained portion of that ditch, the flow is really diffuse. There's no defined bank or channel. So there's nothing there that you would identify as an intermittent water course until you get to where the wetlands are flagged.
Mm-hmm.
And then that whole northern section of the wetlands, which is fairly thin, that's really just the limits of that intermittent water course. So it's kind of a scoured channel that runs from north to south. Some areas don't have any wetland soils. It's just a scoured channel that flows during storm events until you get to the south. And then that southern area, the larger wetland, is really the more diverse and more valuable wetland from our perspective. It has, more of the wetland functions and values that you would typically associate with wetlands. There's also some listed species that could potentially be living in that larger wetland area. So one of our main concerns was with the previous plan, there was parking lots that were being developed almost right up to the edge of that wetland. So that whole wooded buffer to the east side of that large wetland was going to be removed. So that there might have been some secondary impacts to those wetlands. So as you see now, that whole area is being preserved. There's going to be a nice wooded buffer that's going to remain adjacent to that larger wetland to the south. To protect, both the wetlands and to provide that. We do anticipate that there will be some buffer plantings that will, come about as this plan proceeds between the development and the remaining wetlands that, the thinner wetlands on the north portion of the site. And obviously there will be some stormwater drainage that needs to be designed so that we're not impacting those wetlands. But, yeah, so that's about it for now. Certainly happy to answer any questions.
So is there any documentation available yet? And maybe this is not to Mr. Allen, but to Mr. Govern or and the other gentleman, I can't remember your name, about either the construction or, I mean, obviously you know what we're looking at. We're looking how tight these buildings are and the parking lot is, you know, right to the wetlands. Is there anything available about what your thinking is for constructions, the construction sequence, or buffers, or maintenance, or, I mean, it looks like, can you tell, or like I said, I'm looking at the small version here, how close is that parking lot to the wetland, and how close is that, I mean, that building, how many feet?
So if I'm zooming in on my shared screen here, the red area you see here is within 10 feet. So that we do have an area that's within 10 feet of the wetlands, but the rest of the disturbance is outside of 10 feet. So at a minimum. Now we understand that that would require some special construction, but we also understand that this is our pre-application, and we are fully prepared to provide that to you as we move forward. But so to answer your question, there is a small amount of area that's disturbance within 10 feet, but the majority of those tight spaces are 10 feet or more. And again, our goal was to develop a site plan where wherever we could pull it farther away, we did. But we have a couple of spots where we're just outside 10, but we've reduced that number from the first two plans down probably 50% each time we've gone down. So we've got down to like somewhere around, I believe it's 300 square feet of disturbance within 10 feet. And the reason we developed that, because we kind of understood that you're concerned about that and how close we are to the wetlands. We understand that it's a sensitive site and that we will, as we move forward, need to come up with ways to make sure we prevent disturbance beyond that.
Okay, well, just to know, you use the word like pre-application. You may, I can't speak here in Brookfield. We don't have a process for a pre-application. You have an application, so you have one now. It's W-21-12.
Yes.
So we got it today. So today's the official acceptance date. So I don't know, was there some reason that you thought it was a pre-application? No. Okay.
I did the application. It's a formal application.
Okay.
But we do want to get a sense from the board of if this is something that makes sense and works and what direction to go in.
So yes, before we went full-fledged into the development of the design development plans, we wanted to get the temperature of your commission to determine whether or not this is something worth proceeding with, or do we feel that there's something here that's not workable?
I have a question for you. Has this plan been run by the fire department yet? I've seen a number of other plans where the fire department, especially with multi-story residential buildings, required access to all sides of the building. That's not going to be possible for this building, the southernmost of the two buildings. Is that something you've gotten approved already?
No, we didn't talk to the fire department about this specific plan, but I have spoken to them in the past. The code does not require all four sides. And one of the buildings, we can get to all four sides. The other building would get to three sides. That does meet code, fire code.
Okay, I'm not an expert on the fire code. I just know that we've had that discussion with other projects.
It's a good thing to speak to them. It's a good thing to speak to them.
Yes, we will talk to them about this specific plan. But I have spoken to them in the past about plans. And this plan should not be a problem for the fire department.
And today, I'm trying to remember this property right around the wetlands right now. If I recall, it's all it's all, particularly on this northern side, is pretty much all trees and such, right? So these wetlands here are protected by shade and trees today. That's my recollection.
I think, and Chris, I'll speak first and I'll let you speak after. I believe where that old roadbed there, that kind of defines the disturbed edge. The remaining area between the wetland and the adjoining properties are mostly treed. But the site, our site, is predominantly, well, I would say it's 60% grass, 40% landscape. You know, it's kind of partially restored, remediated lands from previous hazard. I don't know about hazardous, but previous remediations under where the building 3B is. That there's a lot of remediation in that area. As you move further west up Station Road, it looks like back in the 70s and 80s, that was lawn area. And I'll go back to this a little bit. It looked like it kind of been mowed, lawn area, and then you could see the wetland below it. But the area you can see where we're working in is predominantly that area that was disturbed. And if it is, if it is woods, it's come back since the 70s and 80s, or since maybe even later. The other side of the road has some neighbors' properties encroaching. There are a couple of maybe pens, gardens. There's definitely leaf dumps on the other side, but there are mature trees grown through it all. So the other side has a good buffer. Again, we have a legitimate buffer along the southern side of our site, which we're trying to maintain. But again, the area that we are working in is predominantly areas that have been previously disturbed.
Okay, well, again, I'm interested. I said, I'd be interested in Mr. Allen's opinion too. Like I said, the trees do provide shade to, to wetland areas. And, I've read a couple of articles recently talking about, the importance of sort of maintaining that and not exposing wetlands that are, shaded today to, to sunlight and grass. There's reasons to try and maintain, if there's a wooded buffer there today, even though they are disturbed, and I'm not, I do understand that, and that has some implications for wetlands. But if there's shade today, what your plan is, I would be interested in, I said, kind of maintaining that shade in some, in some form and fashion there.
Sure. And I think a site visit would be advantageous in understanding really kind of what's there and, what we're dealing with and the area, the impact of the area that we're working on.
Yeah, I think I was there probably, a year and a half ago, something like that.
And obviously we're, the goal would be to maintain as much of that full mature tree growth as possible, which is why we're consolidating to the areas available to us between the development and the wetland.
Okay. Well, do you have anything else you want to share with us?
I think that's it at this point, unless Alan or Chris, you have something else. But again, we're planning on taking this to the next level. So that this is, we didn't mean for this to be the final and foremost, even though I called it a pre-application. Obviously, you don't have that opportunity here, but we certainly like to take this to the next level in terms of engineering. We have a graded site plan that we can now give to our engineer and have them work on that, and certainly hopefully have a response to you back on that within our dates allowed.
Okay, well, I'll just speak for myself. Like I said, this showed up, probably, we get these on Thursday. I had a chance for a cursory look at this.
Yep.
I'm like you guys, I work, so I didn't have, but a short period of time to really stare at it. I mean, it's nice that you don't have any direct, wetlands impact, that certainly, changes a number of things. You know, you've got an application, so we're on the clock, if you will.
Right.
And like I said, you know, it seems to me, I said, if we can talk about things like stormwater management, you know, that will, you know, they'll improve the quality of the water that, you know, drains into that wetlands, because I assume eventually that's where it needs to go. If you can talk about things like, you know, maintaining, you know, buffers. I'm a little concerned about the 10 feet. I have to tell you, a little concerned about the 10 feet of that parking lot and 10, 15 feet of the building. I'm a little concerned that you can actually, you know, maintain the, you know, the viability of the wetlands there with plantings, or, you know, you might want to look at maybe moving that back a bit to, you know, improve things or maintain what's there. That's kind of my thinking at this moment. I very much appreciate, you know, you guys taking us through this and Mr. Allen's input. So that's kind of where I am.
Okay.
So John, Michael, Dave, I know you probably had the same amount of time to look at it as I have.
Yeah, in fact, I must admit that I missed it when I first looked at our stuff for tonight. So
yeah,
I'm first looking at it now. My concern is the same as yours, Sharon, that building, they both seem to be listed as 3B, so I'll call it 3B to the left. That's quite close to the wetlands with a 10 or 15 foot buffers, very close.
Yeah, we might not be able to accomplish everything that needs to be accomplished.
And the construction sequence would be very important. It's very hard for me to understand how you could build such a substantial building 10 feet off the wetlands without impacting the wetlands at all during construction.
I sort of remember there's some elevations there into the wetland. Are you guys planning, do you guys think you're going to need any kind of retaining walls in here?
There are, if you look, there are retaining walls around the parking around the wetland to the north, obviously, trying to stay away from those as much as possible. And there is a retaining wall around the southern end of the property in order to minimize the disturbance beyond that. So the goal really is to build the wall and leave instead of grading down to it, build the wall so that there's less disturbance than more pushing down into it.
All right. Also, I will be very, I said, because you've got a lot of, you're looking at some number of plantings here, you know, right along the wetlands.
Yeah.
I would be interested in, you know, taking a look at those, the species that you're choosing, you know, are native Connecticut species.
Sure, absolutely.
You know?
I would try to use everything native on this project from this point forward.
All right.
And again, I think in the meantime, we can start to look at where some of these trees are, spotting them on the plan so that we can have a more developed plan that you can understand the existing conditions. Again, once we get our engineering going, I think we'll have a better idea. We'll start to take a look at building 3B2. Sorry about the 3Bs. To see if we can pull that away. It is tight to meet the program. Obviously, you can see we have an existing building, the 3-story mixed use building 1B, that's existing. We'd like to have circulation through the site for safety and for trash removal and for all reasons of having internal circulation for the residents. That building's situated there so that it allows for that at this point. Once we start cutting and pulling building 3B on the left there away from that wetland, we start to lose substantial parking and circulation opportunities. That's kind of why we're here, you know, with this plan in front of you.
And the fire department likes the circulation so they can get in and out.
Yeah, I know they're concerned. I do have on a slightly other subject, the current wetlands in the area where you're building, is there significant amounts of invasive species?
That's my next question.
I'm sure there are some out there. I think we'll get it some more into detail once we get further into this project. But the one thing I would say is that section of wetlands that's just to the west of that southern building. If you actually look at the wetland delineation report, that section there is really just is a defined intermittent watercourse, and there's no wetlands on either side of the watercourse. So it's really, I think that's the, if you're going to place anything in close proximity to the wetlands, that's the place to do it, because there's not a whole lot of wetlands there, and it is just kind of like a scoured channel in that. There is obviously vegetation on both sides, which we will preserve, and I certainly understand the desire to keep shading over that intermittent watercourse. So if there are trees that come down along the east bank, we can certainly supplement that with maybe some smaller plantings, behind the building and around the rest of that buffer there. But I think it'll be important once you go out there and see the conditions in that area.
Help me understand a little bit what you had said was or you're labeled here as a ditch and a swale, which you're saying is not impacting the wetlands. It's not really wetlands. But was it in any way used to feed the wetlands, or was that a source of water for the wetlands at one point?
Yeah, well, yeah, I think it's a source of road runoff primarily. So I think it's untreated road runoff. So I think once this plan's developed, that water will continue to the wetlands, but it'll have to, it'll be part of the drainage system. And one of my recommendations would be that anything that's coming off of Station Road is that we treat it now in one fashion or another before it gets put into those wetlands. Because really right now it's just untreated road runoff that's being discharged into those wetlands. And I think we can make that a better situation.
Understand.
Post-development, we can treat that water.
And the reason it's called the swale and a ditch is because that's what the surveyor called it.
No, I understand. I'm sorry, I wasn't being pejorative.
We didn't call it that.
Okay,
I was just using what was on the plan for a description of what I was asking about.
And the ditch portion is actually, it's a dug ditch is
Gotcha.
all it is. Like I said, Public Works, I think, goes out there and maintains it. You can see that it's excavated. There's piles of fill on either side of it.
And our plan is certainly to intercept that and to bring that around that building and into our storm drainage system. So the plan would be to catch that and run it around that building. Well, one of the challenges we have with this is that, and we have looked at the drainage. One of the challenges is it's a very shallow system. The grades are shallow, the wetland's shallow, everything's kind of level. So we understand there are some difficulties, and we plan on addressing that. So it's not like we haven't looked at it. We just haven't gotten to the level we feel to be able to present it to you and finalize it.
That's all I have for questions.
Thank you very much.
All right, gentlemen. John, Dave?
No.
Okay.
But I think I'm okay.
I'm gonna stop sharing my screen.
All right. All right. Well, we're going to be here in 2 weeks. I think you've heard some of, the conversation, mine, John's, Michael's, and Dave's, and again, appreciate the insight from Mr. Allen. Like I said, we're going to be here in 2 weeks. We'll be, if you got some additional information you want us to take a look at, is that going to, we're going to be here. Like I said, we've got until the decision date on this one is the 12th of May. That's what we calculated. So,
okay, we'll do our best to get back to you as quickly as we can.
yeah, well, again, you guys have been, it's not your first Zoom meeting, I'm sure. Everything here just takes a little bit longer.
Sure.
We wish we could all be in the same room and be spreading the maps out, on a nice big table that we could all take a look at and look at the same highlighters and do it. Things do take a little bit longer these days, I'm sorry to say. But,
no doubt about it. And we'll get right on it.
Yeah, we know you want to do a thorough job for your clients.
Right.
So.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time.
Yep. Okay. Well, I'll make a motion that to continue 1923 Station Road. It's activity number W-21-12 to our next regularly scheduled meeting. A second?
I'll second.
3 seconds. There you go.
We got 3
seconds. Yeah.
I don't know who was first, Allison. Well, I think I heard Michael, so we'll put Michael on that one.
All right.
On that motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries. All right, so I think that's it for old business and new business. So let's go back to the public hearing for 45 Obtuse Rocks Road. So there's three things. Yes,
I'm
yes.
sorry. Before you do that, there was one thing added to the agenda at the very bottom, a document about One Valley View Road. If you guys could discuss that, and if it's okay, just accept it.
I
don't see it.
My agenda, and I don't see One Valley View Road.
At the very bottom under number 12, documents received after publication.
Oh dear. I don't have a number 12 on what I printed. It probably.
Oh, okay. Well,
there it is. But it's now posted.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's.
Oh, it didn't print somehow it didn't print on my version of it.
Well,
oh, you know why? Because my version was from the email.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which document do you want us to look at? The construction sequence?
Yeah. They just
Is there
added fencing.
Is there someone here from 12, or was it One Valley View?
I don't think they came to the meeting because it was
I
just.
just thought I thought I heard a voice. So what is this, Alice? Is this just a an update on the stipulation? Is that what this is?
You had asked for them to show their fencing around the pool. They had not shown that previously. So let me open it up. Yeah, they're showing the fence now around the
Oh, okay. I
around the
remember
pool.
this one now.
I don't see it.
Is there some reason that, I mean, I think if you want us to take a look at this, we should add this as an agenda item.
Okay, I'll
All
add.
right.
All right.
I mean, we can either add it tonight, or do you want to put it on the 2 weeks from now meeting or our next meeting, or what's your thought here?
Well, it's not, I don't think it's that big a deal. It's just the fencing around the pool that they're showing.
Yeah, but it's a matter of, I think it's just a matter of, we asked them as a part of the approval process to provide the updated map. So not just a process question. I mean, I think the commission would want to look at it and accept that as, fulfilling that stipulation.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not seeing, okay, there it is. Yeah, whatever way you want to do it, you can do it at the next, I doubt they'll get going on the pool before the next meeting.
Well, let's ask Diane. I mean, this looks very straightforward. I mean, unless there's, they can't wait 2 weeks. Let's just put it on the agenda.
Okay.
As old business, and we'll take a look at it. It looks very straightforward.
Okay. We'll do that.
Okay, so lesson learned. You gotta print the current agenda, not the one that comes on Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every moment in the office.
One more lesson learned on Zoom meetings. All right, so yeah, so no, I printed that out at 2 pages. I said, wow, it's not too much here tonight. So, all right, so we'll put that on the agenda for old business. When are we here? March 22nd.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, with that, then let's return to the public hearing for 45 Obtuse Rocks Road. So there's a couple of things we want to talk about. I have one first. It's about Mr. Bento's inquiry, and then Alice will go because you also have an update on this.
Yes.
So.
I think
Okay.
Mr. Bento is here.
He is here. That's right. That's why I wanted to go first here. So, Mr. Bento, like I said, I did get your email inquiry through the town, through the town website. because it's a public hearing and because of like Freedom of Information Acts and other colleagues, it's not good for me. It's not good for us. It's not good for the process for me to reply to you directly.
Understood.
So, yeah, so I asked Alice to get in contact with you, and that helps the process. It helps make sure, like I said, the applicant is aware of everything, and you know, and all my fellow commissioners are aware of anything. But I'm very grateful, of course, for, you know, and want to thank you, right, for your ideas and suggestions, and of course taking the time. I said my understanding of the state of Connecticut wetlands regulations, the wetlands are, you know, an asset to everyone in Connecticut. And so, you know, people's interest is one of the things we're trying to get in the public hearing process. So I just want to say thank you. And I wanted to say why I did not get back to you directly, but I did get back to you through the land use office. I hope
that's fine. I didn't understand the process, and Alice explained it. It's fine with it.
Okay. Well, you were kind enough. You have a number of items. I said I did just want to, I wanted to make sure. I said, I think Alice got it. It is out to all the commissioners, but there were a number of things that, you know, in the letter talking about prudent and feasible alternatives. Your thought that there is access to the back of the property. You had questions about if the permit is approved, would he be able to allow to mine materials as a part of the part of the construction. You talk about place of business, processes mulch. You talk about the 2-acre property in question. Was it subdivided? When was it subdivided? Are there 2 separate deeds? I mean, some of these things, you know, the applicant might want to answer, but I just wanted to try and get it out in the record here. The state DEP notified regarding changes to wetlands and watercourses. Anyone been out to see the property across the street? Has the Lake Willenona Commission been told about the changes about watercourses flowing into the lake? Has our bond been put in place for the current work from the first application? And of course, your final note here, wetlands and watercourses are slowly disappearing. The property has not been touched for years due to wetlands and watercourses, not in favor of disturbing wetlands and watercourses. There are properties that should be saved because the damage has happened over the years without anyone watching. And there are fewer wetlands and watercourses today because we allow things like this to happen. So I wanted to get that into the record. I think does that sound like it was all of your points at least?
Yes, that's all the points.
Okay. We will try. I don't know if we're going to get to it today, but we do have it. And I would think, either between, the commission in our decision, and or the applicant. I think these are things that, for the ones that are relevant to the, to this particular application, I think I will be looking to try and make sure they all get addressed.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, you're very welcome. Like I said, we are, we go through the public hearing process and we ask everyone to invest in the time because we want to try and get every single fact about this, out in the open so that good decisions can be made by everybody.
Agreed.
All right. I do have one other thing and then I'm going to turn it over to you, Alice. Again, I don't see the applicant here. Is that true? I don't see anybody. Okay. I think Alice is going to make note of that again, but it is a public hearing. It is open. I wanted to make note to my commissioners. I did speak with Mr. Beecher about this property and the question about is this one lot or is this area connected to that other one where there is an existing house? And to make a long story very short, Mr. Beecher has assured me that there are 2 lots here. There is a lot that I think smaller is a good way to describe it, where there is an existing house that is a lot, and that this particular property has been represented in the application that is a separate lot.
Do you know when that was separated or subdivided?
Mr. Bento, again, I don't. I'm just going to, for our standpoint, from our vantage point, it's adequate enough if the town attorney, tells tells me, and now I'm telling my fellow commissioners, that is a separate lot. I can't speak for anything more than that. For me, it's just a black and white thing. Is it or isn't it?
Well, the only reason why I asked that is because it makes a difference on when it was separated. If it was before 1987 or after 1987.
It again, I think our attorney, our town attorney, again, for us, it's simply, is it or isn't it? And he has told me that it is. So if you think there's other considerations, as a wetlands commission, we can't deal with that, I guess, is a simple way to say that. If you think that maybe it isn't correct, there's nothing that we can do here. For us, we're going to rely upon the town attorney's opinion.
No, I understand that, but the only reason why I asked is because I was looking at the paperwork with the Wetlands and Watercourses, Town of Brookfield, Chapter 220, on page 8, section 220-5. There's a section there for residential homes.
Yep.
And it specifies when the lot was, subdivided by a certain year and whether provisions would be allowed to build or not build. That's why I was asking, what year was that lot separated or subdivided?
I don't know. It didn't come up. It wasn't relevant for my conversation with the attorney.
All right. Is there any way of finding out what year it was subdivided? Is that public knowledge, or is that something that I have to dig into, or is that something that Wetlands can look into since it's on the Charter 220?
I don't know how to give you any advice there.
Because I'm reading off the information off, Charter 220, which is off the website, Inland Wetlands Commission.
Yeah.
And again, it says if I can't share the screen because I don't have the screen. Maybe I could. No, my camera's messed up.
No, that's okay. I know what you're referring to.
So that's why I'm saying it makes a difference when it was subdivided or when it wasn't subdivided, as far as being permitted to build on the property.
I understand. I know the piece. I know the wording that you're referring to. But I can't, from my standpoint, from our standpoint, again, what I got from the attorney is that the Wetlands Commission should consider this a distinct lot. So we have to go on what that information is.
We can't request what year that lot was subdivided?
I don't need, for our standpoint, we don't have to.
All right, so how do I get that information?
That's where I personally don't have any advice for you how to get that.
Alice, would you know?
Maybe the assessor's office. A title searcher really would be necessary, and you can hire a title searcher.
Yeah.
Or you can try the assessor's office.
Okay, so it would be up to me to find out.
In this particular case, again, there apparently is, all I can say, that's why I said I sort of prefaced this by saying, to make a long story very short, the town attorney has assured me that this is a separate lot.
All right, so if the town attorney has the information, why is it so difficult to get the information?
I personally don't have it, so I can't offer it to you. So
could we request it from the town attorney?
I don't need to at this moment. If you want to, I can't. I certainly couldn't. You'll have to make.
All right, but how could the Wetlands Commission how could the Wetlands Commission tell the public or to assure the public that this is true or not true when it's up to the public to go and find out? If it's and what's the purpose of the meetings then? If we're
Mr. Bento, again, I understand your concern, I said, I have heard it from the town attorney that it's a separate lot. And that is a reliance that we have to rely on. So
Yeah, but I understand. I do understand what you're saying. But
I understand you have some other questions about that. That is out of our purview right now.
No, what I'm saying is, how does the Wetlands Commission know when that lot was separated? Was it 2 years ago? Was it 3 years ago? Was it 10 years ago? If it meets, if certain criteria has to meet the provisions in Chapter 220, I don't understand how the Wetlands Commission could turn around and say, okay, yeah, it's a separate lot. Shouldn't there be a date of when that lot was subdivided?
I am confident that the town attorney is aware of the dates in that document, in the state regulations. I'm confident that he is. And so that's why I'm relying upon his decision. So I'm sorry. I mean, I think I really don't have anything else. I'm sorry. I don't have anything else to offer you. I am very aware of that.
Right. So I have to do the legwork to find out myself then.
If you're not satisfied with what I am telling you, that I heard from the town attorney.
No.
Yeah.
I understand the process. You have to follow by what the town attorney is saying. But I just think we would put the public at ease to know, okay, the town attorney says this, and these are the dates that lot was subdivided. Having no information except for the town attorney says, yes, this is what it is, but still no information backing when it was subdivided, is just a little upsetting.
Okay. Again, there's a long. I understand. I said, but I'm constrained by. I said when I'm hearing from the town attorney. Okay.
Understood.
Okay. All right. Well, I wanted to get that open. So, any comments from my commissioners on my conversation with Mr. Beecher?
No.
All right. Alice, now you've got an update for us, I think.
You're muted, Alice. There you are.
I met with Cynthia Rabinowitz, who is reviewing the plans, and with Michelle McCauley of Artel today out at the site, and we looked at it. And I had told Michelle there really wasn't a need for them to come to this meeting because we're going to wait until we get the report from Cynthia, which Cynthia said she could complete by the next meeting.
Okay.
A couple of I sent Cynthia the email of what she was asked to look at, and also I mentioned a few of the other things that Sharon, you had mentioned to me to just consider and to Michelle, for her review, like possibly a conservation easement, possibly no salt on the drive.
Another, conceivably, and I'll just mention to my commissioners when I was talking to Alice, today about, about the project. There's things about the viability, viability assessment of these created wetlands. I'm thinking about. I said, I think we've done conservation easements on other properties, where there's development, right on the edge, of wetlands here. And there's a lot of things that are going on, in that area. So I'd be interested in everyone's opinion there. I think also I was thinking about that driveway, that just nips the edge of the wetland, that 1,600 square feet of wetlands. I think, and again, this is, you guys, we can talk about it, later or now, but I was thinking too, we might want to think about a barrier, between the edge of that driveway and the wetlands, because it is true that, there are trucks. I'm sure everybody's had it where the trucks do their best to come up driveways, but they do miss it and they do drive over that. And I don't think anybody, wants to have truck wheels in, in wetlands, and something like that could be, could be prevented, if there's a barrier there, whether it's a wall or a guardrail or a something. These were some of the ideas that I would be interested in, both the applicants, interest in, and also, or their opinions on, and then also for Mr. Rabinowitz as well. I think that covers some of the things that I was interested in, or I've been thinking about. Let me ask my colleagues, anything that's on your mind about this particular application? Again, the public hearing is open.
Have we officially opened the public hearing?
No, I'm sorry?
Have we opened the public hearing? I don't know.
Yeah, we opened, it was officially open 2 weeks ago. So
oh, okay. We don't have to
continuation.
okay.
Yep. And the decision date on this one right now is March 29th. So.
Okay. With what was sent to us this week, there seems to be a number of some information and plans concerning a potential tree farm on the property. Is that something we should discuss?
Well, we certainly can.
I mean, I did have one question. I mean, I understand what a tree farm is. There's a building that would be going in as part of it. It's being called a barn, but it seems to have a pretty extensive septic system and well and such. Is there any chance that that barn would be a living space?
Well, the applicant is not here to to answer that. However, the Connecticut, the state of Connecticut, the inland wetlands regulations are, in my humble opinion, very concise about the as of right uses for wetlands. So they're over there. I would encourage everyone, to take a look at them. It's about a paragraph worth. And I'll make a note, I'll make a note because I know I'll make a note in our next meeting that, to point that out. It's pretty easy to find it though. I said it's about 2 paragraphs about things that are as of right.
I found that
not everything is as of right.
Yeah, I found that paragraph. I read it and I'm still not 100% sure.
Well,
yeah.
Michael, I can send you some information on some case law studies that
I would appreciate.
Saturday at the meeting I attended. That'll help, I think.
Okay.
John, Dave?
Yeah.
Again, well, the applicant is not here. We did get a little bit of new information. We know why the applicant isn't here. Again, it is a part of the public, the public hearing. Again, for anything new that we've talked about, is there anyone on the phone that has a question about anything that we've talked about?
Sharon, just quick question. A couple other questions I had. Do you know if the commissioner of DEP was informed with his application?
I believe as a part of the process, there is isn't there, Alice, isn't there a notification to the DEP? I know part of the fee is notifying them. I don't think they get the entire set of plans.
No, they just get, there's a questionnaire we fill out after a permit is issued and we send it
after the permit is issued.
for regular house construction and yeah.
No, I'm talking about the information that DEP should get before the application or specific section shall be completed by applicant. Does DEP get notified?
They get notified after the permit's issued.
So it's not part of the application?
No, they don't fill it out. We do.
So that's the normal process.
It's not actually anything happening within a wetlands, which is really the concern of DEP.
Right, and as far as the
they don't care about buffers. The DEP doesn't care.
That's fine. As far as the water courses that flow towards the other side of the property, will somebody look into that, or will?
I informally asked Cynthia, our reviewer, and she said that no, there shouldn't be any impact across the street at all. Most of the activity is far into the property, and it has several rain gardens on the plan before anything would get to the road or into the wetlands.
Nothing goes underneath the street?
Not that I know of.
All right.
When the applicant is here, Mr. Bento, you can ask them that again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Any more questions, Mr. Bento, again?
No, the only other question I would have was bond. Was that bond ever requested by the individual for the work that's being done?
Well, that would usually bond questions get determined once we actually come to a decision as to what the project is.
No, for his first application that he put in, which he was fined for doing things without approval, was there a bond set for anything that might happen again like that? I mean, can you guys ask for that?
I am completely unfamiliar with this situation.
I think he's talking about the house next door. There was a violation. There was no fines issued, but
okay.
He had done a little bit of work and he remediated that. So we were all set with that one. No violations exist at this point.
Is that your question, Mr. Bento, about that?
That was a question. So a bond would only be requested after the application or permit would be granted.
Yeah, typically bonds are for work that is either, rather significant remediation efforts, which that did not, so now I remember this now, that didn't qualify, or work that is particularly in a wetland, or restoration plantings. That's how bonds are commonly, those are the regulations that we have available to us for bonds. There can be other bonds for buildings or other kinds of things, but for us, it's mostly for wetlands remediation or wetlands creation, conceivably. Those are the kinds of things where we would set bonds, but exactly what that is, we wouldn't know until we actually had an approved plan. And it is commonly a part of our decision process.
Okay. I just wanted to see what the process was on that. I appreciate it, Jen.
Yep.
All right, I think we hit on all subjects.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any other questions from anyone?
I did, real quick question. I did send Alice an email regarding the septic systems that I spoke about the last meeting.
Yep.
And if Alice, you would care to share that with you guys, I think it would be very helpful for the town and for the people in the town as far as.
When did you send this to me? I didn't put it on the agenda. I didn't see it.
I sent it today. It was during the meeting, actually. I remembered it.
So no, we didn't see it.
It's just information. It's just information for you guys to look at. I know there's many states that are going forward due to the nitrogen output of certain septic systems in certain areas. I know Long Island is changing the septic system rules. New York State in some areas along the waterways and lakes and stuff. It's just something for you guys to look at.
What I can do is I will make it part of the agenda for the next meeting.
All right.
It is quite long too, it looks like.
Yeah, it gives you several options for different areas and locations where you might be building a home where you need a septic system.
Yep.
And what's best for the location area, let it be, wetlands, water courses, lakes, and so forth. It's pretty detailed, but it's good info.
Yep. It always is. All right, any other questions? All right, again, we always give anyone who wants to speak in favor of the application the opportunity to do so. Anybody want to speak in opposition?
I'm still in opposition until I know more about it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bento. Again, we appreciate your questions, and like I said, we will get to all of them. There's a lot to this project, and we will get to all of them.
Yeah, is there any way I could get in? I know town hall is closed due to COVID, but is there any way I could get any paperwork, maps, anything like that that I could actually read and study so we're on the same page?
Can you make an appointment?
We don't have an extra set. I just gave the last set to John. He had asked for a set. John Donovan, that is. So if you would like one, we can make one. It's $10 a sheet. You know, you can call and we can go over the pricing and you can tell us what you want.
Sure, no problem.
Or John, are you planning to give yours back or?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, you're talking the other John.
Yeah, the other John. Yeah, John Donovan.
I can bring it back.
Okay, that might save Mr. Bento, you know, so a couple of bucks if you could, you know, maybe get it when you're done with it, because your review is terribly important. And again, these things take time. I mean, I said this whole Zoom meetings and COVID, everything takes a lot of extra time, but we don't want to rush the process and cut any corners. You know, maybe you could get it, let the land use office, when you're done with it, then maybe they could let Mr. Bento know, you know, maybe save him a couple of dollars.
Yeah, and when I'm done with it, I can bring them back as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, John.
All right.
And I'm sorry about my camera. I see it's fuzzy halfway, but
don't worry about that. I had to come up with, I have like 3 different lights here trying to get this under control. So
In Hollywood, they call that soft focus.
All right. Well, if there isn't anything else, we've had some questions. We've got an update, you know, from Alice. I've given you the update from the town attorney. We've talked about some things I think could be some consideration for this. With that, I said, I think I'll take a motion to, like I said, to continue this public hearing to our next regularly scheduled meeting on March 22nd. And I'll make that motion. So I'll make the motion that we continue 45 Rocks Road to our next regularly scheduled meeting on March 22nd. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Thank you, Dave. Any discussion? All right. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any
Aye, opposed.
abstentions? All right. My motion carries. All right. Okay, so we'll move back to our agenda here. We've got tabled items, nothing, correspondence. We talked a little about the Huckleberry Hill. That was Mr. Keene's letter, right, Alice?
Yes.
Okay, then we got the DEP permit for use of pesticides in state waters for Reed Pond. And I don't remember this one. Maybe I should. No, this is the Keene letter, the 93 Candlewood Lake Road.
No, actually it's across the street, but she had questions because she said there was more water in her yard than there used to be, and she felt that it might be from when they put in the sewer line. The town hall's dealing with that because it looks like they actually, the water's coming from the back of the property, not so much from the front of the property. It's just seeping in. So it's really not, doesn't look like it's coming from anywhere along Candlewood Lake Road.
But she addressed, this is a letter addressed to us, right?
Yeah, she had sent it to you, and then I said I would send it to Greg Dembowski because they'll be doing the water line, and also to WPCA. So they're addressing it.
All right, so I know Allison will get that into the minutes. All righty then. Review of the previous minutes. February 22nd.
I did not see anything that deviated from my memory.
Okay.
I didn't see anything off either.
That's all right to me.
So I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of the meeting of February 22nd, 2021 as submitted.
Second.
All right. Thank you, John. All right. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. Motion carries unanimous. All right. Informal discussion, riparian buffers. That's still on my list of things to do. We have this ongoing question about what can we do about salt and whatever stuff from roads that are traversing or right next to wetlands. We have that as, we're going to leave that there and hope we can come up with something that'll be beneficial for everyone. And then this email for 6 Hollow Oak, that's the same thing as what's up there under 8B, correct? Or no,
Yes.
it's a different one.
No, it's the same one. I'm not sure why. It's both places, but.
Okay.
Can you went quickly over this. Can I just ask a question that I think there's a simple answer to? Road maintenance impact and putting salt on the road. What happened to good old sand? Is there a reason that sand is not used on the roads?
I can ask Public Works that question.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's messy, but it doesn't disturb the water. It doesn't saltify, is that a word? It doesn't make the water salty. And
it might be a problem because it still goes into the water.
It does, but I just would think that some sand would not be as disruptive. I think the problem might be that if you put sand on the road, it doesn't run off into the water, so it has to be cleaned up and swept up. So it's kind of like double the work for the crew.
Do you want me to find out from? Do you want me to ask Public Works?
It might be an interesting question to ask. I'd certainly like an answer.
You want to maybe take an idea. I said, what we do from time to time is, Alice is really good about, calling those guys and getting some great information from them. We do from time to time write letters to people.
Well, I'm not sure I want to if there's a simple answer that it won't work because.
I have a suggestion, if you don't mind.
Mr. Bento, just hang on a second. I'm sorry, we just don't really have a good way for you to input here in the conversation. It's not we're not in the public hearing portion.
All right, I'm sorry. I just heard the conversation. Just real quick, magnesium chloride is probably the safest for plants and animals, which could be substituted over the salt.
Okay. Well, I'm sure our good Public Works in the town of Brookfield, who really do a great job plowing, I know that.
Yeah, I'm certainly not complaining. We were out in the
they
storm.
do a great job with that. A great job.
And yeah, well, once we left Brookfield, it got a lot worse. Going into Danbury and going into some of the surrounding towns. So I'm a great fan of our Brookfield road plowing ability.
Me too. So I said, maybe Alice, well, let's see what Alice says. I said, and it's still, I think we still could conceivably, I said, think about a letter from the commission, that, we would write, the commission, everyone would agree with, I could sign, we could send over and say, look, we've heard this, but we'd like to ask you to think about something else, whether that's magnesium chloride or whatever else that, we think might be useful, or maybe they hadn't thought of, or whatever. So it is a tough problem, that's for sure. Safety and salt, and it's.
I mean, that may be the simple answer, that salt is just that much safer than sand.
Yeah, but you're right. There should be something else, right? You shouldn't say, it's can't always this or this. Is there something else? So. All right. Anything else?
Somebody would have come up with a solution by now between salt or sand if there was a solution.
And they would probably get rich if they did found one.
Maybe not. Maybe not. Nobody knew about printing presses before they came up with it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they might not. They would have had to own the material or the sources of the material to have gotten rich. But I'm sure there are people that have thought about this problem over the years.
Are we looking for a motion to adjourn?
I think so. If that conversation,
Yeah.
if anyone's satisfied with what we can do today,
Yes.
I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right. So we have a second. All
Yep,
right. All
second.
in favor of the motion to adjourn? Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. Motion carries unanimous.